Dawn breaks over the Florida Everglades. A great blue heron takes flight across glassy waters. The camera glides over ancient cypress trees draped in Spanish moss. This is one of Earth's most unique ecosystems, a river of grass flowing toward the sea. But beneath this serene surface, an invisible war is being waged, and Florida is losing. This is the story of how the Sunshine State became ground zero for one of the most devastating biological invasions on the planet. Florida hosts more non-native species than any other continental region in the world. In Miami's urban parks, 93% of reptiles and amphibians are now non-native species. What transformed this biodiversity hotspot into an invasive species epicenter? Florida's subtropical climate, multiple ports of entry, and exotic animal trade created perfect conditions for foreign species to thrive. The state harbors roughly 500 non-native animal species, each threatening the delicate balance that took millennia to establish. But three invaders stand apart. Three species that reveal the catastrophic consequences when foreign predators enter unprepared ecosystems. Where you once saw raccoons every 100 meters along roads into Everglades National Park, now there's only emptiness. The marsh rabbits, foxes, opossums, bobcats vanished. The culprit, a snake that shouldn't exist here at all. The Burmese python arrived through the exotic pet trade, brought from Southeast Asia by collectors drawn to their beauty. These snakes grow over 20 feet long, with girths as thick as telephone poles. When they became too large to handle, owners released them. Then, Hurricane Andrew in 1992 destroyed a python breeding facility, releasing hundreds more. The Everglades became a paradise for these invaders, warm, marshy, filled with prey that had never encountered such a predator. The numbers are staggering. Raccoon populations declined 99.3%. Opossums 98.9% and bobcats 87.5% since 1997. Marsh rabbits, cottontails, and foxes effectively disappeared. Think about that. A 99.3% decline. In ecological terms, this is an apocalypse. One study fitted rabbits with radio transmitters and released them into python territory. Within 11 months, 77% of deaths came from pythons. Researchers find wading birds, deer, and even young alligators in their bellies. Nothing is safe. But here's what should keep us awake. Despite removing over 23,000 pythons, this represents a fraction of the population. Only 1% of pythons are ever seen or captured. The true number could be 30,000 or 300,000. We don't know. The python is Florida's ghost predator, everywhere present, almost nowhere visible, virtually impossible to eliminate. Beneath Florida's coastal waters, another invasion unfolds. The lionfish drifts through coral gardens with hypnotic grace, elaborate fins spreading like feathered fans, its body striped in burgundy, white and gold. It's breathtakingly beautiful. It's also a voracious killer. Native to the South Pacific and Indian Oceans, lionfish were first spotted in Florida in 1985, likely released by aquarium owners. What started as scattered sightings became an explosion spreading through the Atlantic with unprecedented speed. The lionfish possesses deadly advantages. Venomous spines mean no natural predators in Atlantic waters. They consume over 70 species of fish and invertebrates. A single female spawns over 2 million eggs per year. And the devastating reality, one lionfish on a coral reef can reduce native fish recruitment by 79%. One fish. 79%. Lionfish densities exceed 200 adults per acre in some areas. They can reduce juvenile fish populations by 90% within just 5 weeks. They're eating the reef's future. Juvenile snappers, groupers, parrotfish that maintain ecosystem balance. When lionfish invade a reef, they reduce prey populations by 65% in 2 years. Florida's reefs already struggle with climate change, pollution, and disease. The lionfish adds crushing weight to ecosystems at their breaking point. Scientists believe it may be impossible to ever fully eradicate them. The response? Spearfishing derbies, removal programs, and eat them to beat them, turning lionfish into a sustainable fishery. Last year, divers captured over 30,000 lionfish. But even these massive efforts barely dent populations that continue exploding across the region. Not all invasive species capture attention like pythons or lionfish. Some develop quietly with equally devastating potential. Meet the Argentine black and white tegu, a 4-foot lizard with beaded leather appearance and, remarkably, one of the most intelligent reptiles on Earth. Tegus arrived through the pet trade. Collectors love their striking patterns and docile nature. They solve complex problems that would perplex some mammals. They seemed perfect, until they escaped or were released and found Florida's climate ideal. By 2008, Miami-Dade had a breeding population. By 2017, tegus reached Everglades National Park. A 20-tai hatchling confirmed scientists' fears. They're reproducing in protected ecosystems. What makes tegus particularly dangerous is their appetite for eggs. They're omnivores, but especially known as nest raiders. They've been documented eating American alligator eggs and disturbing crocodile nests. Camera traps caught them in endangered species nests. Gut analysis revealed gopher tortoise hatchlings, a threatened species, inside captured tegus. They don't just eat individual animals, they consume entire future generations. Every egg found represents a bird that will never fly, a turtle that will never swim. Analysis of 124 gut samples revealed 39% contained vertebrate remains, frogs, toads, lizards, snakes, turtles, and small mammals. The threat extends beyond Florida. Tegus survive northern climates, hibernating underground for over 240 days. The entire southeast is at risk. Populations already exist in Georgia and South Carolina, but there's hope. AI-equipped smart traps recognize tegus. Sustained trapping across 4 counties works. Capture numbers have declined since 2019, not from spreading, but from successful population reduction. Yet, this requires constant vigilance. The moment efforts stop, populations rebound. Stand at the Everglades edge at sunset, and you might see what early explorers saw, an endless expanse alive with birds and ancient life. But look closer, and you'll notice what's missing. The symphony plays in a quieter key. Florida spends $45 million yearly just on invasive plants. Animal management could exceed that. Globally, invasive species cause over $423 billion in annual damage. But the true cost cannot be measured in dollars. When marsh rabbits go extinct, Florida panthers go hungry. When juvenile reef fish disappear, fisheries collapse. When tegus consume eggs, the entire species moves toward extinction. Research identified 460 potential invasive species that could establish in Florida, with 40 posing the greatest threat. The state plays endless defense against the next catastrophe. Yet there are glimmers of hope. The Python Challenge has removed thousands while raising awareness. Lionfish derbies created an active removal culture. Tegu trapping shows that sustained effort works. The exotic pet amnesty program prevents future releases. Prevention remains most effective. Florida now requires permits for high-risk species and banned python importation. Education campaigns teach that releasing pets isn't kindness, it's an ecological crime. The camera returns to the Everglades at dawn. Morning mist rises, and anhinga spreads its wings. The landscape appears timeless, but we now understand the invisible struggle beneath this surface. Florida's invasion teaches profound lessons. Every pet released, every species transported, every ecosystem disrupted, these actions echo through time unpredictably. The python, lionfish, and tegu each began as someone's desire for something exotic. That desire has reshaped one of North America's most important ecological regions. But this story isn't finished. Scientists, managers, volunteers, and citizens continue the fight. They understand, once invasive species establish, eradication becomes nearly impossible. The battle shifts from elimination to containment. The time to act is always before that tipping point. Florida's wild places represent irreplaceable heritage evolved over millennia. When systems unravel, we lose more than individual animals. We lose ecological memory, relationships that can never be recreated, balance that took thousands of generations to achieve. The invaders are here. The question is, what happens next? Will we contain them before they spread further? Prevent the next invasion? Restore what's lost, or accept a fundamentally altered ecosystem? The sun climbs over the Everglades. In this embattled paradise, the struggle continues. For native species holding on, for invaders spreading relentlessly, and for Florida's wild heart. The outcome will be written in generations and determined by the choices we make today.